There are two noises you heard a lot in T20 cricket: a loud appeal or a celebration of the ball hitting the stumps. It's happened for like a lot of teams. The Strikers, Afghanistan, Tridents, Victorians, Durban Heat, Gujarat Titans, Kabul Zwana, Patriots, Sunrisers, the Window Lickers, Sussex, Rockets, and two MI franchises on different continents. One of those teams may not exist. Actually, a lot of them may not. I don't know. And let's be honest, those are just the ones that are easy to remember, although not that easy. Since 2016, Rashid Khan has been bowling in T20 cricket all around the world, and he's basically been hitting the pads or the stumps more than anyone else. 48% of his IPL wickets are bowled in LBW. The rest of the bowlers average 26%. But that sound has stopped. Not only is Rashid Khan not hitting the actual stumps as much, he's not even aiming the ball at them anywhere near as much as he was in his prime. If you look at his bowling to right-handers by year in 2022, he was all about the top of the stumps, and sometimes a little bit fuller. In 2023, he had incredible control of his length. By the following year, he's not as great with line or length, but still very accurate for like a normal human bowler, especially for a leggy. In 2025, it just hasn't been there. There doesn't actually appear to be a clear plan at the moment. He looks like a bowler just hoping he'll come up with something great on the day. The noises of the ball hitting the stumps have been replaced with them hitting the stands. And that sound is deafening. NV Play helped me make this content. For detailed performance breakdowns of your game using technology and data, contact them today. I watched all of Rashid Khan's deliveries in his first 3 matches on repeat thanks to NV Play, and I made notes of every single ball. I think I had video of about 57 of them or something like that. From those, I counted 12 down the leg side. 2 of those were full tosses and another one was a half volley. Against the right-handers, they looked like mistakes. Against the lefties, I think it was something else. For the southpaws, at the moment, he's doing it at an all-time rate, albeit from a small sample size. He's never done anything like this before. It has to be a tactic, and a defensive one at that. Seems like he's trying to squeeze the lefties like you often see part-time offies do against right-handers, bowling behind their eye line. And these aren't wrongmans that are spinning back at the stumps. They're pitching outside leg and then spinning further away. In 2022, he almost never tried this tactic, preferring to attack off stump. The following year, he bowled a little bit straighter. It was still balls hitting the stumps. A similar thing happened in 2024. For this year, he's hit the stumps twice to the goofy footed batters, either outside off stump or way outside leg. He is a different bowler than before. There is no doubt of that. From a predator to a defender. In my notes, I had 12 of his balls down as overpitched. In the data, that seems I might have been a tad unfair. But this year still has more full balls than he had since 2022, a year when he was noticeably trying to bowl fuller. But that isn't the important thing to note here. It's that almost a quarter of his deliveries are 7 meters or shorter. In fact, if you move it back a meter, you can see that this is the shortest he has bowled in recent years. And not by a little bit. Almost 14% of his deliveries are not just short, but short. He is really struggling with his length in a way you just don't see. This is a man who could land a ball on the off-stump line at about 5.3 meters and either hit the top of off or leg on repeat. Now his lines are changing and his length is all over the place. Just look at this graph again. He's on 13% on overpitched balls and short ones, meaning that a quarter of his deliveries this year have been simply the wrong length. You could set your watch by his bowling before. Now it's loud and messy. His median length this year is not that short overall, but maybe that is brought down a lot from the fuller balls. But what you can see is he's changed a lot. 40 centimeters to be exact, from his mega 2022 year, when, to be fair, he did bowl a lot fuller. And this is not just to one kind of batter. He made the switch in 2023 to lefties and righties and has more or less kept it up ever since. He was still really good in that year, taking 0.8 wickets more than expected for 24 balls. That's a huge clang for any bowler, especially one where players usually try and block them out. But the following year that drops off a cliff and he's taking 1 entire wicket less per 4 overs. His econ stays about the same. So in the space of a year, he went from a great strike bowler to almost a defensive only option, hoping to silence the batters. If you just look at right-handers, the pattern is more or less exactly the same. The true economies haven't changed that much, but the wickets have disappeared. And he's a leggy. He should like right-handers. Rashid hasn't always been striking better than other IPL leggies. There have been years when teams have just basically given up trying to score and defended him. So occasionally his average has gone up a little, but most years he's around par or below. But then something really weird happens. 2023, he takes all of the wickets. And 2024, he takes none. Again, it's like the consistency has gone. Economy is probably a better indicator of this. Rashid has never gone for more runs than other leggies. Only in 2023, when again, as we said, he took all the wickets, did he get close. No one has ever been able to consistently hit him. But the last 3 seasons, or 2 seasons and a couple of games, I suppose is the best way of looking at it, have clearly been his worst. And as of now, this is a terrible start to his campaign. But this is the thing that has changed the most. His strike rate in the IPL versus other leagues. Every year, it has not mattered what uniform he wore or what kind of batters he was up against. He just dismissed them all or kept them all quiet. Last year in the IPL is the first divergence of that. If not for the fact he's been way worse so far. This season, economy is usually a better way of looking at this. And you can see that until 2022, he's been around the same marks for the IPL as other leagues. And then it changes. What happens that year? Let's call it a impact sub. So there are simply more runs in that league than others. But even within that, his jump up does look extremely violent. This may sound weird of the greatest T20 spinner of all time, but Rashid doesn't really handle being attacked well. The reason for this, I think, is simple. For half of his career, he hasn't had to worry about it. People have defended him because that is just the best option that you have. There are crap part-time spinners who are used to being slogged way more than Rashid is. So now modern IPL batters can swing with a longer lineup, and he's going the distance. If you just looked at the IPL numbers, you would say that he's a player who has maybe passed his best, or handling an injury. And remember, we started seeing some of the changes in his lengths and lines in 2023. Well, guess what year it was that he had to go off and have a major back surgery. So it wasn't just the impact sub that came around in that year. It's also worth noting that while he's listed at the age of 26, there is no way to actually test that. Ages are not recorded in Afghanistan in the same way as other countries. Not to mention that there was a lot going on in the Hindu Kush Mountains during his early life, and he has a massive family as well. So it's possible he's like 5 years older than the recorded number. I would assume that no one, including the man himself, would know his true age. But it is doubtful he's like 33 or older. So let's say it is 5 years, that's only 31. That isn't an age where a normal leg spinner would start to struggle. But he is not a normal leg spinner. In fact, I don't think we've ever seen a leggy put the amount of revolutions on his stock ball at this speed ever before. And we've seen slower ball bowlers struggle with that kind of usage, like Pat Brown and Mustafizur Rahman. Shout out to the OG Bob Appleyard as well. What about his usage? In the latest Kimber podcast, Robbie Otapa says,
I reckon someone who's considered the best leg spinner in the world should be bowling your 7th or 8th over. I think he's coming on sometimes in the 10th over, sometimes as late as the 13th over. And it seems like they have moved in the direction of using him as a death bowler. You got to bring your match winners into the game when it's actually primed for them to come into the game. You're bringing in a match winner when almost as a defensive option, and that has a huge impact on a person's mentality and psyche, right? And if that's foreign to this person, and I haven't spoken to Rashid, like I've just said hi, hello to him in the course of a game, but it's just my observation that if that impacts a person and then impacts their confidence, then you could be the best bowler in the world. You'll still feel like you don't know what you're doing.
I don't 100% agree with this, but he does make some good points. Rashid has been taken out of the power play a little bit so far this year. And at the moment, he is bowling the most overs he ever has after the 12th. And he didn't even finish his allocation at one time. All this might be messing with his confidence and feel. But I think they moved him because he was already struggling. It's starting to be pretty clear that he may not be Gujarat's first choice spinner at the moment. So this could be impact sub, usage, maybe his age, or perhaps it is an injury. Chances are it could be all of them. But one bad sign for me is the sweeps. People didn't really take the knee much, or well, to Rashid early in his career. It has become more of a thing to all bowlers. But this year, it's so noticeable that everyone is trying it against him. That is often a sign for a spin bowler that they are struggling with injury or age. It isn't just the number, it's the scoring rate. In 2021, teams swept him a load, but they were scoring at 12 runs and over from him. Last season, that went up to 16. This year, it's been even higher, although from almost no sample size. When Brad Hogg got swept more, it ended his 83-year-long career. A couple of sweeps to a non-sweepable bowler makes a sonic boom in their ears. We don't really need sweeps though, do we? It is really clear that he is no longer the best spinner in the IPL, and with Sai Kishore's form, maybe not even in his own team. Last year was the first we had on our records of a subpar season, and he hadn't even been close before. This year is certainly looking like another. I'll explain impact metrics another day, but you don't want to be red. And some of this is a little bit unfair because he's being compared to himself. In 2 different stretches in the IPL, he had a plus impact for 13 and 14 consecutive matches.
He's been a beast for years, but that monster has gone quiet. And aside from a little run in 2024, he's at best a 50-50 chance to be good. And of recent times, he's been way worse. There has always been these nagging voices of some people suggesting that Rashid Khan will one day be found out, as if he's more of an illusionist than the miracle maker he was made out to be. Every World Cup failure, or ODI gone wrong, is used against him, but that is nonsense, because no one asks their way to 7 great years on the trot in the toughest league in the world, even more so for overseas spinners. In T20 cricket, he has completely proven there's no second conversation to be had. Age is undefeated. Revolutions at pace slow the body down. Maybe he's not being used perfectly and the impact sub have changed the runs per over patterns we saw before. But even great players lose their way a little. They play through an injury and rarely get dropped because of bad form. So every issue is more glaring. Rashid Khan might be about to work something out and go on a tear. He needs to, because the sound we're hearing now is not the ball hitting the stumps. It is questions as to why they aren't.
South Africa did not choke. In 1906, South Africa needed 284 to win. They had only passed 100 in half their test innings at that point. At 105 for 6, it seemed impossible. They fought back but lost another flurry, leaving 45 to win with 1 wicket in hand. At the crease was Dave Norse, who was a capable batter, and he was joined by Percy Sherwell, the only debutant captain keeper and number 11 in Test cricket history. And these two were doing it. A huge crowd in South Africa cheered on every single run. With 8 left, Sherwell edged between slips for 4. Straight after, Norse ran a 3. England bowled 3 dots. All they needed was 1 wicket to tie. Instead, a leg side full toss, boundary, game over. This was Test cricket's first 1-wicket win, and their last partnership was a record for almost 100 years. But it was also something else. This was the first Test match that South Africa had ever won. Buy my book on Amazon, Overthrowing Cricket's Empire.